Thank you. All I can say is wow. It's been a long day for me. We had a program across the way there. I've been up since 5. So if I start to sort of fade, if you could kind of just like snap your fingers or something, hopefully I'll come back. The talk about being a team is so true. But first I do want to begin with thanks to NATAS and the Board of Governors, to my husband Bill Katcef, my son Philip, who's in the back, and I owe a debt of gratitude to someone who I've known since he was a little guy. He's heard this story before. He was a student of mine. He is now a colleague of mine, and I know that Josh Davidsburg is the reason that the nomination is here, and he worked on this, so I owe a lot to Josh. His mom, Lorene, is also here, and his wife, Alicia. So thank you. Also, the Merrill College of Journalism, which has been, it's my alma mater. It is my love, my passion. Dean Lucy Douglas, you should all have someone who has your back the way she has for her faculty and her staff. Associate Dean Rafael Lorente, who has given us the toys in our newsroom that we had been lacking for years. Lucy and Rafael are a phenomenal team so that our students can leave and have the skills and the tools and the knowledge that are required to get the jobs and to push us forward and to do the job that's required to keep the public informed. My teammates, we cannot do this alone. I have a few of them here that I want to acknowledge. Cindy Wright, who is both a phenomenal instructor, our executive producer. Some of you may know her in her prior life over at WJLA and at, in Baltimore at WMAR, and of course she was with Sinclair for a number of years as well. The esteemed Tom Batag, who I've had the pleasure of getting to know and learn from, who came to us, he's retired, and the next thing you know, he's like working a full-time job. And the students have had an incredible benefit from having someone of his stature and who's just such a nice person. And that's important, that they learn that this is a business. But we've heard it from a number of the folks who are up here. You've got to be a people person and care. And certainly that is demonstrated on a daily basis. And I have to mention Dave Ottolini, who's got the camera. He's from our communications, he is our communications guy at the Merrill College. And he has the job of trying to make us all look good. So he has been a tremendous supporter, and just wanted to say thank you. And of course, my students. I have an amazing collection after 10 years as an adjunct, and now I'm into my 18th year, which is hard to believe. It's the longest job I've ever held. So that must say something about it. I have Michael Stern. Now I know why Michael kept saying, you gotta mention my name first. So to Michael, that was an incredibly meaningful presentation. I have a number of alums who are here who made a special trip in, and they're working in markets all around the country, and a number of folks here as well. My students are our students. They're our family, and we try to make it that way. Melissa is sitting down there too, that's Adam's wife. We want them to have an empathy and a sympathy and an understanding of the important job that they have in the role of society. But again, first and foremost, they have to be students. Of course, I'm the only one who carries a pen and pad up here because I didn't have 5 minutes to put anything together. It has been a wonderful career for me, radio and TV. I grew up on Maryland's Eastern Shore in a very small town of Denton. So for a small kid from a small town, it's really quite overwhelming to be here. But I must tell you, my beginnings go back to a journalism instructor that I had in the 7th grade, who I stayed with her, she stayed with me as my faculty advisor through the senior year of high school. She laid the foundation of good journalism. Get the facts, get it right, and make certain that you represent yourself well and do good for others. It's an important foundation. Something else I learned from another colleague of mine, some of you may remember him from when he was here, Mark Lodato, who was at Channel 9, who is now at the Cronkite School at Arizona State University. Mark said that with working with students, it made him a better professional because you want to do better to raise the standards and do better and make them better. And I now understand exactly what Mark was saying, because that is just oh so true. We want to be able to provide a grounding. You are the guide, you encourage, you lead, and hopefully you do a little inspiring along the way, with the bottom line of getting the facts right. You don't want to take yourself too seriously. And this goes back to actually to when I was at MPT working on State Circle. And I was with John. It was a pretty cool time. We had some interesting characters at the State House. William Donald Schaefer among them. And someone who had been doing an article about good reporters at the State House, or talking about various reporters, said, I want to tell you something, that I asked Schaefer who he thought some of the good reporters were, and he listed some, and he said, he came to your name. Yeah, it's Sue Kopen. She's okay. But she works for MPT and nobody watches them. It's like, okay, well, thanks very much. But, you know, your work gets noticed, and whether or not you're seen or not, you make a difference, and you have a responsibility to get it right. MPT was a great organization, and we worked hard, and it was tremendous work. State Circle, I still watch every week. The bottom line is we are being challenged now. Les talked about it earlier. I'm not going to go over that, but the lessons we teach are critical. Do your job, do it well, set the bar high. Hopefully, in doing so, we will make a difference along the way. Thank you.